You've heard the stories of towering beings with bones as long as a man is tall and footsteps that shook the earth. From the Bible's Nephilim to the ancient Anakim to Native American legends of red-haired giants, they appear in ancient texts, in tribal memory, in forbidden archaeology. But is it all just myth? Or were there truly giants who walked the earth? This is not just a story of bones and legends. It's a story of how history remembers and how it forgets. This is the tale of the forgotten giants. In ancient Mesopotamia, scribes told of the Anunnaki, sky beings who ruled before the Great Flood. Some texts hint they were of enormous stature, beings of great height and strength. In the Bible, Genesis 6:4 describes the Nephilim, said to be the offspring of the sons of God and daughters of men. There were giants in the earth in those days, mighty men of old, men of renown. In Greek myth, the Gigantes waged war against the gods. In Norse tales, the Jötnar, giants of frost and fire, existed before the gods themselves. These weren't bedtime stories, they were belief. Were they symbolic or eyewitness? In the 1800s and early 1900s, American newspapers reported strange finds, skeletons over 8 feet tall, buried in mounds across the Midwest. Archaeologists claimed to discover elongated skulls, massive jawbones, and femurs that dwarfed modern bones. In Lovelock Cave, Nevada, local Paiutes told of red-haired cannibal giants they once warred with. When guano miners entered the cave in 1911, they unearthed giant sandals, tools, and bone remains, some too large to belong to an ordinary human. In Ecuador, giant human bones were reportedly found in the jungle. In Romania, workers digging a trench in the 1940s found a skeleton over 10 feet tall. But here's the twist. Most of these findings disappeared. The bones, gone. The institutions, silent. The photos, rare or discredited. Did giants walk the earth? Or is this one of the most systematically buried truths in human history? Mainstream science argues no credible evidence of giants has been validated. Giantism exists, but it's rare and pathological. They say newspaper reports from the 1800s were sensationalized, written to boost circulation. Some bones were misidentified, animal remains, or hoaxes. But skeptics ask, why were Smithsonian agents reportedly involved in removing many of these bones? Why do ancient legends from vastly different cultures tell of similar beings? In India, in Greece, in the Americas, the descriptions are eerily consistent. Towering humans, great warriors, often wiped out in floods or divine wars. Can so many cultures invent the same lie? In Native American lore, giants weren't just myth, they were enemies. The Choctaw spoke of the Nahulo, cannibal giants who lived in the forests. The Comanche told of a race of white giants so tall the ground shook when they walked. The Sioux and Navajo had similar stories. But here's the key. These weren't stories told in temples or carved on stone. They were passed down by mouth, from father to son. mother to daughter, over generations. Some tribes even refused to excavate sacred mounds, believing they still held the bones of the ancient ones. In Egypt, statues of Ramesses stand over 60 feet tall. In Baalbek, Lebanon, stones weighing hundreds of tons are stacked with precision no crane today could manage. Were these simply tributes to gods, or scaled to honor real beings? In South America, legends tell of Viracocha's giants, punished by the gods for their violence. In Sardinia, locals whisper of giants' tombs hidden under modern roads. In the Philippines and parts of Southeast Asia, megalithic structures appear where no large population ever lived. Could it be that traces of giants remain, but we simply refuse to see them? Many believe institutions like the Smithsonian or powerful academic circles buried giant remains to preserve a neat, linear view of human history. Evolution doesn't easily allow for ancient beings twice our size. But consider this. In 2014, a supposed photo leak showed military personnel unearthing a humanoid skeleton in Afghanistan, nearly 12 feet tall. The US government denied it. The photo vanished. The witness? Silenced. Whether hoax or truth, one thing remains. The desire to forget is just as strong as the evidence. Because if giants existed, our history is wrong. So, were there really giants? Maybe not like the fairy tales, but maybe not entirely fiction either. In ancient ruins, in sacred stories, in the bones that vanish, and the whispers that won't die. Something enormous once walked beside us. Not just giants of size, but of mystery, of memory, of myth. Forgotten by time, remembered by legend, and now found again in your curiosity. Until next time, stay curious.